All right, all right. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Hard Conversations. Today, we are going to start podcast number 6. So, this is special for me. Hello, everyone, again. I am your host, Dr. Michelle J. Clark, and this is more than a podcast. It's a place where we have to have those hard conversations that many people avoid, but everyone needs it. My goal here is to create a space where it's honest, respectful, and meaningful conversations that inspire us to think differently, grow personally, and better your version of yourself. Today, I am honored, guys, to welcome an internationally recognized speaker, entrepreneur, author, Jeremy Anderson. Jeremy has inspired millions through his powerful messages of resilience, leadership, purpose, and personal growth. Today, we will go beyond the stage and discuss, right? We're going to discuss these topics here, and we're going to talk about those experiences that shape the man behind the message. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me today. I know your schedule is incredibly busy, and I truly appreciate you taking the time to be here. And I'm so looking forward to this conversation. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, Dr. Clark. Absolutely. When you asked me, I was an instant yes. And so I'm grateful to be here. And when I saw the title with the hard conversations, I said, come on. That's it right there. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
And I'm grateful to have you. Thank you so much. So let's just jump right in. And
Okay.
before the stages, before the success, before the millions that you impacted, what was the turning point that changed your direction in your life?
Michelle, I've had several turning points, in my life. I would probably say the most pivotal one was in adulthood. I went through a turning point once when I was young in high school, and then I went to another turning point. When I was in adulthood. I was not living a life of purpose. I was not in alignment with the purpose. That I knew that God placed on my life, and I was hustling. I was selling weed by the pound. I was running nightclubs. I was living this wild, reckless lifestyle, and I got to a point in my journey in my life where I had to make a decision and take ownership. And that's something a lot of people struggle with. They don't want to take ownership. They want to point to everybody else of why they're not living the lives that they should live. And I made a decision at that moment to become a man of faith, to work on my character, to work on my integrity, to get in alignment with God, to walk in my God-given purpose. Got baptized, joined the church, got back with the church, like stopped the reckless lifestyle I was living and the illegal stuff, and really began to live a life of purpose. And at that moment, I was just so eager to make as much impact and put as much positivity in the world as possible. So a lot of people see me now jumping on stage, traveling the world, speaking at schools and universities, and for the Ford Motor Company, SpaceX, some of the biggest organizations in the world, but they don't see beforehand, like we're talking about now, like where I was before, how I was lost, and how I was blaming everybody else for my failure, my struggles. And so that initial turning point for me was getting in alignment with my purpose and my calling and where I was in life, and having to kind of make their U-turn. Some people say, I made a 360. You make a 360, you right back where you started. I did a 180 and changed the trajectory of my life, which was hard and it was challenging, but it was also extremely rewarding.
Wow, that's very powerful. Just even here, because like you said, I never thought about it that way with the 360, because you're back. Yeah, you're right back there. Right. And often we speak about overcoming adversity. But what was one of your hardest season in your life that helped you push through? What was that like? What
Can I
helped you push through?
can I briefly give you a few?
Sure, absolutely.
So early on in my walk, as a man of faith and getting in alignment with God, like so Michelle, when I tell you I was smoking a pack of Newports a day, I was smoking 2, 3 blunts a day. I would wake up to a bottle. I mean, I'm in the nightclub life, I'm trapping, I was just used to it. So now that I'm on this new path, I get baptized, I'm ready to live a life of purpose. I have to fight those vices. So every day, I didn't do no Nicorette patch. I wasn't going to no AA meetings. I was just in isolation in my home. And it was so overwhelming because I was like, it's hard for me to like completely change everything. And I got to a point where I said, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it one day at a time. And that was really challenging. And what's really hard is because I was applying for jobs.
Mm.
Because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to sell drugs no more. I'm not going to do illegal. I'm gonna find a legit job, even if it's only paying $15, $20 an hour. I'm gonna do whatever I could do to live this legit lifestyle. I don't want to ever have to worry about a cop getting behind me and what I got in the trunk of the car. Like I'm legit now. And I
Right.
find a job. I'm sitting here talking to God, like, God, I am praying. I'm going to church on the weekends. I'm doing everything right. I'm keeping my temple clean. And I could not find a job day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out. And I remember feeling really frustrated because I'm like, man, I am trying to like do this the right way. And I remember talking to my pops, and he was just telling me, he said, do you know how a potter will take a clay bowl and turn it into a plate or a vase? I said, no, once a bowl is a bowl, like it just has to stay a clay bowl. He said, no, 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 no. That potter will take that clay bowl and will have to break it. And he'll have to smash it. And he'll have to break it into small pieces. And then he sweeps it up and then he puts it in the grinder. In the grind mill, he has to grind those small pieces into really, really fine pieces like sand, like dust. He said, then the potter will mix fresh water onto that dust like stuff and then begin to shape it and mold it and put it on a spin wheel and begin to form it from what was once a bowl is now a plate or a base. And as he begins to shape it into what he wants it to be now, it goes through this molding, shaping process. Then he has to put it in the fire
Mm.
so that it has to be hardened so it can be used. And he was just like, God is just putting you through the fire. He's just putting you through a process where he had to break you down, crush you, humble you, pour the spirit upon you, reshaping you, remolding you. And then he has to put you now through the fire. So it's in those moments of adversity, Dr. Clark, where I was just like, I can't find a job, but I got to stick to my principles. I can't find a job, but I got to work on my character. I can't find a job, but I still got to be a man of integrity. I can't find a job, but I got to do what I said I'm going to do. I told myself I'm not that person no more. So I told myself, like, I'm not going to be the person that's like, okay, I'm going to change my life as long as everything works out. No, I'm not that person no more. So I got to find something else. And so that was a really, really, really challenging time, but it built something inside me. And eventually I got a good job, and me and my girlfriend at the time, we ended up getting married, and then we ended up building our first home, and then everything was great. And then the next piece of adversity came, when she was dealing with a lot of health issues, from her fibromyalgia and endometriosis and adenomyosis, and we lose two babies back to back, and her body is failing her, and then she loses her aunt and her grandmother, then her father, and then her mom, and it's like a dark cloud that's on over our home. And I'm seeing my wife, who's the most amazing, beautiful, gentle soul in the world, just getting crushed. And it's like this blanket of depression is over our home. And I'm still trying to travel and speak and generate revenue for the family and still be present for her and go through the grieving process. It was just hard. And I'm thinking, like, man, we're good people. Like, her have health issues, grieving babies, grieving family members. It was just a lot. And in that moment, I had to decide, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to continue to show up. I can't abandon. I can't just complain. This is life. But it forced something deeper inside of both of us. And so what I had to realize was this is all a part of my journey. And so I really believe that all things are going to work together for my good. And so now I am open to share it. I'm open to testify. I'm open to let others know what I've gone through, the struggles, the frustrations, the pain, because they find strength in that. They find hope in that. See, people see where I am now. And I'm like, okay, you see me on chapter 32, but you need to go back and look at what I had to endure in chapter 8 and in chapter 9 and in chapter 10. You focus on my chapter 32 and you comparing that to your chapter 12. Like, you got no clue, like, what I had to go through in this season. I tell folks all the time, don't celebrate the stages I'm on, like celebrate, the sacrifices I made. Now, don't celebrate the checks I get as a speaker and a business owner, like celebrate the character that I had to work on. Don't celebrate the income I make. Celebrate the integrity that I've had to try to form over the years. So let me tell you something. We could have a 3, 4, 5-part series when they talk about adversity. I almost lost my mind 3 years ago because I was going, and taking care of everybody else, but was not taking care of me. And so I just feel like throughout my life, especially over the last 17 years, I feel like I was just trying to do so good and put out so much good and be a blessing to so many people, to take care of so many people. But I understand now the importance of me taking care of me, the importance of me making sure my heart's in a good place. I'm gonna get with my counselor, my therapist. I'll see you know what I'm saying, every week when we have our sessions, whether it's once a week or whether it's every 2 weeks. Like, I'm gonna find a safe space to make sure I'm good. Because here's the thing: adversity don't stop. It keeps coming. And now I don't run from it. I lean into it and I say, how can I get better? How can I get sharper? How can I get stronger? So that's a long answer to a very small question. Overcoming adversity. Those were just a few of the hardest seasons, that I've had to endure because I had to get out of my feelings. I had to get to a point where I had to say, you know what, Jeremy, it's not about how you feel right now. Okay, so you feel sad, or okay, you don't feel seen, or you don't feel appreciated, or you feel tired, or you feel over, like however you feel. Like, don't let your performance and what you do day to day be tied to how you feel. That is very dangerous right there. And so I try to stay on principle now. I try to focus on, okay, these are my feelings. And though these feelings might be warranted, I have to make a decision how I'm going to move and operate. And I try my best to show up for my family. I try my best to show up for others. But I know now the importance of me prioritizing me and making sure that I show up for me so I can show up for them and be the best version of myself.
Wow. Jeremy, that was that was powerful because a lot of that what you said resonated with me as well, just from
Mhm.
the start to now, and a lot of people don't see that. But listen, we can stay on here all day and talk about adversity. That's wow, that was that. Thank you so that.
Because here's the thing, they look at you, Dr. Michelle, and they like, man, she's so pretty. She's got the pearls. She's got the whole setup. She's got her private practice. She's got her PhD. Like, she's got all these things going for her, but they don't see the sleepless nights we be having. They don't see the tears we shed. They don't see the scars on our back. They don't see the depression and the anxiety we had to fight through, and the self-doubt that we had to fight through, and the exhaustion that we have. They don't see that. They just see what we show them. And so what I do now is whenever I get interviewed and whenever I have an opportunity to share or I take the stage, I let people know, hey, you see me now. Look at what I went through. This is what almost broke me. This is how I lost my mind. This is how I almost lost my family. This is how I almost, saying, like, almost wanted to quit and wanted to give up. And this is how tired I was. And at one point, my wife was about to be like, hey, homeboy, I'm out. And I'm thinking, like, but I thought I was a good husband. Like, I'm human, and we get tired. And I tell people now, like, a dangerous leader is a tired leader. A dangerous leader is an exhausted leader. A dangerous leader is a burnt out leader. And so now I'm a champion of letting people know, like, yes, I know it looks good. Yes, I know it look like I got it going on, which I do, but don't get it twisted.
Yes.
It ain't always been peachy. I just had my landscaper come by. He was telling me something he going through. I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna pray for you." He was like, "How you doing?" I said, "Bro, I got my own stuff," and I shared some stuff with him. He was like, "What?" He was like, it literally happened today." He was like, "I was just thinking everything in your life perfect." I'm like, "Silly you, silly you." I said, "Bro, everybody going through something, but how do we respond? That's what makes us powerful. How do we respond in a heavy space? How do we get to a point where we say, you know what, this hurts, I don't like it, it's unfortunate, but I can't change it. So let me figure out how can I grow from it? What can I learn from it? Let me express my thoughts, my feelings. Let me not keep it in and suppress it, but I'm not going to stay here forever. I've acknowledged it, I've expressed it, I've talked about it. Now let me keep moving. Because what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to let this stop me. I just got some dodo news earlier. Forgive me for this. I'm just trying to share with your folks. I got a call from a family member earlier. Just frustrated me. I'm thinking, like, I don't want this drama. That's why I don't be wanting to take y'all phone calls. So I'm sitting here at the gym. I'm in the parking lot, I promise you, for about 20 minutes. And I was like, let me just get my thoughts together. Let me get my emotions together. I cut some music on to kind of just shift my mood and my energy. And was like, man, let me go in this gym and train and just kind of parse. And now I'm good. But I had to sit with it for a minute. Okay, why did that irritate you? Okay, why did that frustrate you? All right, why did that piss you off? Okay, you know what? And then how do you want to attack it? I'm gonna let it go. Because I'm not even gonna carry it. I could call back and be like, you know what your problem is? I'm like, I ain't got the energy for it. So I had to release it. I had to make sure I'm good. And ever since then, my day's been smooth. But I think individuals, like just because we're successful, that does not mean we are void of challenges and pain and trials and despair. We just have to get to a point where we process it in a healthy way and we move on from there.
Wow. You know what, Jeremy, with saying that, you answered my next question. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even want to ask because you already answered it. But wow, that is just so powerful. I mean, it's
What,
just,
what was the next one? What
well,
was it?
so it was basically about what you said, your talents, your dreams, reaching the next level. You know,
Mhm.
what do you do and what do you believe to separate that? You know, so yeah.
And I could say this to fully answer it. When it comes to people that have dreams and talents that want to go to the next level, what they don't realize is the pain, the adversity, the frustration, the heartbreak, the trials are the very thing that prepares them for the next level. Oh, Dr. Clark, if I could just help individuals understand, you don't just pray and expect great things and then it just comes to you. You don't just say, I want to be better. I remember years ago, I told my mom, I said, man, mom, I'm trying to be more patient. Something frustrated me. And I was like, I wanted more patience. She says, honey, did you think that you was going to just automatically become more patient? Now things are going to come your way that allows you to exercise patience. I was praying last year, like, man, God, I want to experience perfect peace. Well, then a storm came. And it's like, oh, this is not just some random feeling I get. I have to practice that perfect peace. And so now I'm realizing that whenever I go through trials, whenever I go through adversity, whenever I go through hardships, oftentimes, especially when it's unwarranted, where it's not like I caused it, it just happened. Now, there's some of y'all, let me talk about Dr. Clark. There's some of y'all that's listening and watching right now. You in a storm of something that you made. Like, so let me be clear. There's a difference. There's some people that be like, I can't believe I'm going through this. Well, you chose it. Oh, I'm just under attack. No, you chose to drive drunk. Okay, like that ain't just life happening. You made a bad decision. But some of y'all watching, you're in a season right now, and you're like, man, I thought I was doing everything right. Why is this happening to me? Because it's preparing you for your next level.
Right.
It's preparing you to give birth to something that is so powerful and so strong, but you have to go through it because that very thing that you're going through is preparing you for that person you ultimately want to be. That's how I feel.
That also resonated. I mean, wow. So if like you stated, if someone's listening today feels defeated, like you said, discouraged, ready to just give up, what would you tell them right now?
I would say to look at their past track record, right? Because this wouldn't be the first. See, let me tell you something. We be having amnesia sometimes. If they really look at their situation right now, and as heavy and as scary as this feels, I would encourage them to look at 2025, to look at 2024. Maybe they go all the way back to 2019 and then look at 2017 and then look at 2012. And they will see, like, you know what? You're right. In 2014, I was up against something. And in 2016, my back was against the wall. And in 2019, I lost my job and I was in despair. And in 2021, I got that diagnosis. And then the next year, this happened. And then 3 months later, that happened. And guess what? You still here. So to all y'all listening and watching right now, I would just let you know, guess what? It's going to be okay. You still here. We all go through it. For those of y'all feeling tired and discouraged and defeated and depressed, and feeling distant, like it is going to get better. The worst thing you can do is go in isolation and give up. The best thing you can do is come to light. You see, mold can only grow in dark, damp corners. Like, bring it to the light. Find somebody to talk to. Get with Dr. Clark and find that trusted person that you can share your feelings with. People look at me and they say, man, Jim, you seem so locked in and so focused. Well, I got people I can talk to. I've been meeting with Dr. Mobley. I was meeting with Dr. Lakiva. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm meeting with Alcia. I have a safe place on a regular basis where I can talk about my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, how I'm feeling. I'm showing up for everybody else. Now I got a few people that can show up on a regular basis for me. So those of y'all feeling tired and you feeling depleted and you feeling discouraged, hear us and hear us clearly. Guess what? You're human. We're not surprised. That's a part of the journey. It is your responsibility to make sure you get the help, to make sure you find a safe space, to be able to talk about what you're going through. And I guarantee you, you're going to come back strong. Let me tell you something. I'll never forget. This is my last thing, and I'm going to be quiet because you ain't going to never have me back because I talk so. I was in the gym one time and I seen this dude, his muscles had muscles. And I went to my man and I didn't want to disturb him. I mustered up enough courage to just interrupt his workout. And I said, my brother, how you get so big? How you get so strong? You know what he did? My man looked me in the face and said it took a whole lot of time and I had to endure a whole lot of pain. And this is what I want to leave your guests with. They feel tired and they feel discouraged and they feel depleted, but you don't know that as you hang in there, you just getting stronger. And this is going to be a part of your story. And your superpower now is when you don't keep it to yourself. Your superpower now is when your cousin or your business partner or your colleague or your neighbor or somebody you know close to you, you let them know what you went through and how you made it out. That's how you help being a blessing to somebody else. That's how we help make this world a better place. That's how we put more light and more hope out here in the world. What if I told you that what you're going through right now, beloved, it ain't just for you, it's for somebody else. And as you make it over, you're going to be able to go and let them know, I remember that time when I was discouraged. I remember that time when I was depressed. I remember that time when I couldn't get out the bed, but something worked out and I figured it out and I bounced back. So those of y'all that feel tired and you feel weak right now, I promise you, if you hang in there and you continue to lean in on your faith, it is only going to make you stronger. And so when people look at me now, I don't have this aura or this strength or just so positive just because that's who I am. I'm just a regular dude, but I have gone through so much and I have been able to bounce back by the grace of God over and over and over again. And that's where my confidence comes from. So I'll share that with all your listeners and viewers right now. Everybody that's in a weird place that feels tired, you human, welcome to the club. I would say hang in there. Get the help that you need on a regular basis. Talk to somebody, express how you're feeling, get that support that you need, and keep moving forward.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jeremy. I really appreciate that. I just, all your responses, all of it resonated. It's hard having those hard conversations. One last question that I make sure I try to ask my guests: what one question do you think people need to ask themselves honestly, but most people avoid because they're afraid to answer? What's that one question you think people need to ask themselves?
Um, the one question I think people need to ask themselves is, I'm gonna give you two because
Okay.
we've got two types of individuals. Some people need to ask themselves, am I the problem? There are some people in every situation, everywhere they go, it's conflict, it's drama, it's this person. And guess what? You the common denominator. Some of your folks listening right now, we're gonna have a hard conversation with them. If they look at the last 10 or 12 arguments that they had or misunderstandings they had, guess what? They was in the middle of all of it. And so some of you, I would caution you to ask yourself, like, man, could it be me? The biggest thing people struggle with is the inability to self-assess. The inability to self-assess, the inability to be able to look deep within themselves and say, you know what? Now I do have some problems and I do have some biases and I do have a little pride, a little ego, and I do hold on to resentment longer than I should. And I do be feeling a certain type of way. Like, individuals would be surprised where they're going to go in life when they can sit back and really assess themselves and have a hard conversation with themselves. Now, some of your folks, that might not necessarily be the case. Some of them might need to do a hard look in the mirror and say, who am I really? Not who I portray to be, not who I'm trying to be. Like, who am I really? Like, deep down on the inside, like, who is Brian? Who is Sabrina? Who is Derek? Who is Claire? Like, deep down on the inside, like, who am I? And do I like this person that I am? And do I want to be somebody different? When I tell y'all you can reinvent yourself, you can rebrand yourself. I'm coming out. I want the world to know. I promise you. But you got to do a deep assessment of yourself and say, okay, who am I really? And do I like the person I've become? And if not, what am I willing to do about it?
Wow, that's powerful.
Mm,
Thank you. Thank you.
absolutely.
Jeremy, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your wisdom, your encouragement with us today. I truly appreciate you taking the time to join me on Hard Conversations. I am your host, Dr. Michelle J. Clark. And guys, if this episode encouraged you, subscribe, share it with someone who needs it, and join me next time as we continue to have hard conversations that many people avoid, but all of us need it. Until next time, keep believing in yourself, keep growing, and never be afraid to have those hard conversations. Thank you again, Jeremy.
Take care.
All right.